Hi everyone, this is Mr. Iannelli. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to oil the valves of your trumpet. Before we get started, you're going to need a few things. Your trumpet, of course, valve oil, and a towel or some paper towels to put under your trumpet because the valve oil can stain. So it's best to have a towel or some paper towels. Great. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I need to put valve oil on my trumpet valves? And the reason is, we want our trumpet valves to move quickly and freely as we play. And as they get dried out, they start to get slower and they can even get stuck. So to prevent this from happening, once a week, if not twice a week, we want to put valve oil on our valves to make sure that they can move quickly and freely. So first thing we have to do is make sure that we know the order of our valves. So the first valve is the one that is closest to our mouthpiece. Okay, that's our first valve. Second valve is the one in the middle. And our third valve is the one that's closest to the bell or furthest from us when we're playing. So again, first valve is the closest to us when we're playing. Second valve is the middle valve. Third valve is the one that's furthest from us when we're playing or closest to the bell. Great. Now, when oiling our valves, what we want to do is we want to unscrew the valve cap. Not this part that not the button, the valve cap. We want to unscrew that. Now, if you're having a hard time unscrewing it, go ask an adult for some help. They might be able to get a better grip on it. And if they can't get it, tell them not to use any kind of tools on the valve cap because that could damage it. And that, if they can't get it at that point, they can either bring it to me or to a repair person and they'll be able to get it off for you. So unscrew your valve cap. Now, normally, and I'll show you this with the other two, I won't take the whole valve out, but to show you the whole valve, I'll take this out. So if you look, there in most trumpets, there's an etching of the number valve that this is. Now, it's probably hard to see it in this video, but there's an etching that says 1, meaning the first valve. So that's how we know that this is the first valve and it goes in here. Now, we always we oil our valves one at a time. Always one at a time because we don't want to mix them up and we want to make sure that we are testing the valves and make sure that they're working before we move on. So we have our number etching here for first valve. We have our valve cap that we just unscrewed. Then you'll notice this little plastic piece right here. This is our guide. This makes sure that when it goes in the trumpet and we turn it, that it's going to go in the right way. If we put it in and we don't use the guide, air won't go through the trumpet freely. So this guide helps us, and I'll show you how in a minute. Then you'll notice two parts of our valve. There's a gold part and a silver part. The silver part is where we want to put our valve oil on. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to take my valve oil, and I'm only going to put about 5 drops on. Okay, like this. All right, put it just around, rotate it around. Okay, and then once I have that, I'm going to put it back in the valve casing, right? And I'm going to twist it until I hear it click. Did you hear that? That's how I know that it's in correctly. When that guide clicks in place, then I know it's in correctly. And then I'm going to screw the valve cap till it's closed up. There we go, something. Okay, so you see how that's not coming back? So what I can do is I'm going to unscrew. I'm going to take it out, and oh, my guide see that? My guide is not straight, so I can just, there we go. Now that's straight. I'm going to just put it back in, and I heard it click. And there we go. Spread that oil around, and then I always like to test before moving to the next valve. I know that the air is moving freely through the valve and I can move on to the next one. So now I'm going to go to the second valve. And now I'm going to repeat the process. Unscrew my valve cap. Pull the valve out of the valve casing. Put a few dabs of valve oil. Okay. Put it back in. Rotate till I feel a click. There we go, I heard the click. Screw the valve cap back on, spread the oil around, and test. Now, I'm playing and there's no air going through. So I know that this second valve that I just did is not in correctly. So I'm going to take it, keep twisting it. Now, let's try that one. Great. So you see what happened there. If I hadn't tested it before moving on to the next valve, I wouldn't be sure if it was the second valve that needed to be reseated or the third. So that's why we test after every valve. Okay. So now my first valve is oiled and tested. My second valve is oiled and tested. Let's go to our third valve. Unscrew the valve cap. Pull it out of the valve casing. Put a few dabs of oil. Put it back in. Right, we twist till we feel a click. There you go. Screw the valve cap back on. Spread the oil and test. Great. So now I've oiled all three of my valves. I tested all three, and I know that my trumpet is ready to play. So again, you want to do this about once a week, if not twice a week, and definitely want to do it before any performance. Remember, we want those valves to come up and down really quickly, really smoothly, and putting that valve oil on our valves once to twice a week, make sure that we're going to get that from our trumpet valves. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you soon.